Welcome, and thank you all for coming. About a year ago, we did a debate. The resolution was that global warming is not a crisis. And the audience in that debate started voting 57% against the resolution, ended up only 42% were against the resolution. It was the biggest change in opinion that I think we've had in any debate that we've done, and it was perhaps the most newsworthy debate that we've ever presented. Well, this debate takes off from where that one left off. It assumes that global warming is real. It assumes that human activity, particularly emissions of carbon, make a major contribution. The resolution today is about major cuts in carbon emissions, and I want to emphasize major. If firms or universities or governmental entities find a cost-effective way of reducing their carbon footprint, that's a cause for applause and not debate. But the major issue is really burning coal to generate electricity. In China and in India, there are going to be 800 new coal-fired plants to generate electricity in the next 5 years. Those plants alone will emit 5 times as much carbon as the entire savings from Kyoto I Accords. Well, there's a Kyoto II framework under discussion, and it is far more ambitious. It proposes to tax the release of greenhouse gases through a cap-and-trade mechanism by $1.3 trillion annually. This is a staggering 10% of the U.S. gross domestic product, 2% of world GNP. One can't contemplate an intervention of this magnitude without asking a couple of questions. First of all, what are the benefits that are associated with costs this large? And secondly, what alternative expenditures might enhance human welfare more? It's these questions that our panelists tonight are going to address. And now it's my pleasure to hand the evening back to John Donvan and the outstanding group of panelists that we've assembled this evening.
Thank you, Robert. And may I just invite another round of applause for Robert Rosenkranz for making all of these debates possible. Welcome to the Symphony Space in New York City. I'm John Donvan, your host and moderator for this Intelligence Squared U.S. debate, another in a series of, we hope, smart and scintillating programs debating topics that matter. The motion before us this time, major reductions in carbon emissions are not worth the money. This is a contest. It's a contest of logic and wit and mostly persuasion. These panelists are here to change your minds. You, the audience, are the judges. Now, to introduce our panelists. First, Peter Huber, author of The Bottomless Well and a columnist for Forbes. Bjorn Lomborg, founder of the Copenhagen Consensus. Phillip Stott, emeritus professor and biogeographer from the University of London. This is the team arguing for the motion. This is the team arguing for the motion. Arguing against the motion, Hunter Lovins, president of Natural Capitalism Solutions. Oliver Tickell, a journalist and author of the Kyoto II Climate Initiative. And Adam Werbach, global CEO of Saatchi & Saatchi S. The Intelligence Squared and Intelligence Squared U.S. debate series are produced by the Rosenkranz Foundation. Shortly, you will hear from our 6 panelists, 3 for the motion and 3 against the motion. The motion is major reductions in carbon emissions are not worth the money. Now, we want to ask you at this point to register your views on this motion as you come in off the street before hearing any of the argument, because as I say, they are here to persuade you and to change your minds. You can reach now for those keypads, and I'll remind you, particularly if you came in late, the way to vote if you agree with the motion that major reductions in carbon emissions are not worth the money. Push number 1. If you disagree, push number 2. If you are undecided, push number 3. If you regret your decision, you can correct it by pushing the correct button, and it will register the last entry. Does anybody need more time? All right, so what we're going to do is tabulate those, and a little bit later in the evening, I would say halfway through our opening statements, I will share the results of that polling. The panelists will each be given 7 minutes to speak. If they reach the 7-minute mark and are still going, I'll have to step in. After that, we'll be hearing from you in the audience, and following that section, and that's normally the longest section, each panelist will be given 2 minutes to summarize their views, and then we will vote again and find out who the winner is. And I want to make clear the way that we determine a winner is to see who was more persuasive in changing minds. In other words, if somebody starts with 60% margin and the other team obviously has 40%, whoever moves their percentage higher will actually be declared the winner of the evening.